You're listening to Shear's Daily Shuffle, bringing you the not-so-latest hits every day at 1 o'clock. Today is the 20th episode. Accomplishment? I don't know. Not really. Why am I even bringing this up? I don't know. I'll bring it up again when I get to 50. Then it'll actually be an accomplishment. Today's song is Where Danger Lurks, composed by Ronald Hanmer from the Ren and Stimpy production music album featuring vintage instrumental tracks. Great music. You know, when you think of film, you know, you think of cinema, and you think of music that goes with cinema, and you have all of these kind of stereotypical kind of tunes, you know, and this is pretty much what this album is. And they're all just kind of compiled here on this Ren and Stimpy soundtrack, I guess. I never actually watched Ren and Stimpy. Well, I guess I watched it a couple times. I didn't watch it religiously or anything. Mostly because I didn't have cable as a child. But you know, it's great music. This particular song is, well, okay, so basically you can divide this music into two different, well, actually three different. You can divide this album into three different sections. You got kind of the happy, upbeat music. You got the mysterious slash danger horror music stuff, you know. Then you just got a bunch of cues, musical cues. So, you know, like he walks to the door and then there's like a crescendo or something. You got a bunch of those musical cues. And I downloaded these because back in the day I actually did plan on making movies. I was much like Tyler. Of course, Tyler actually has initiative and he gets his projects done. I don't. I've told you all about the snowman thing I was planning on doing. But there was another movie I was planning on doing. I may have told some of you about this before, but I came up with this idea in my freshman year of high school. So, oh man, 2005, I think, maybe. The summer of 2005. So right before I actually started high school. The movie is called The Barn. Pretty simple title. It's a horror movie. It's not actually a horror movie. It's a B horror movie. It's one of those horror movies that's actually supposed to be funny. So think like Shaun of the Dead or similar movies. And you know, throughout the movie we have a few references to other actual horror movies and whatnot, you know, and it's pretty much a good overall time. The plot synopsis, basically, me and my bud, who is actually my current roommate, we would be sitting around, you know, one day watching movies. The movie we were actually going to be watching is Saving Private Ryan, you know. And we get bored. We don't want to watch the movie anymore, so we're like, okay, how about we go play some basketball? And I have a basketball hoop out kind of under the roof of my barn. So we go out to play some basketball. And, well, we're both terrible at basketball. So, we're shooting some hoops, you know, and not making any. And I make one, finally. Then he's like, whoa, how'd you do that? And I'm like, you just gotta believe, or something, I don't know, something corny like that, you know. And then I dare him to take a shot from, like, the other side of the concrete, you know, like, a good 20 feet away, 20 or 30 feet away, maybe. You know, clearly impossible. And he shoots it, you know, it doesn't even come anywhere close. It actually kind of darts off to the side, hits the ground, and then bounces into the barn. And then all of a sudden, you know, we're like, oh shit, the shit just hit the fan, you know. And then he's like, what's going on? And I tell him that my barn is haunted, okay? And so then we go on this mission to retrieve the ball. And there's a gearing up scene, you know, and I don't know, there's a scene with a pizza delivery man. I don't really remember the importance of that, but it's pretty funny. Like he comes, but there's arsenic in the pizza or something. So we go into the barn, and there's all this kind of haunted stuff, you know. There's a haunted toilet, because I have a toilet in my barn. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but just random stuff that's kind of funny. And we end up finding the ball, but then we come upon the main villain, I guess you could say, of the movie, which is a shopping cart, a possessed shopping cart that rolls by its own means. There isn't any sort of engine or person pushing it or anything. And so we're trying to escape the shopping cart, you know, and we have the ball, and there's a scene kind of like what's the movie called? Castaway, maybe? The one where oh man, the guy has the volleyball, I think it is, you know, and then he draws the face on it, and because he needs a companion in it, you know. This is actually, we're taking that from that movie, except it's a basketball, and so we draw that on there, you know, and then he freaks out and he moves out, and then we steal a scene from. We're doing a lot of stealing scenes here because it's supposed to be a comical movie, you know. It's kind of a parody type of movie, and we steal a scene from Indiana Jones, you know, where he puts his hand in the light and then the spikes come out, but instead the ball gets impaled, and then we run the hell out of the barn. After a while, there's a big fight scene with the shopping cart, and we finally prevail. And at the end of the movie, we're walking away from the barn, and there's a sunset, and there's actually 4 people by that time. One guy who was a hobo living in my barn that we finally save. Another guy who came and tried to help us, but he supposedly died on 3 different occasions. But he finally ends up living. And we're walking away from the sunset, you know, and there's some inspirational music playing. We do one of those classic jump up in the air and then freeze frame and on a chord, you know. And then the credits roll, and then once the credits are done, you think the movie's done, but all of a sudden there's like a dissonant chord, you know, that strikes out, and a photograph of the basketball impaled on the spikes. Instead of the smiley face, you know, it's a frown, you know, and then the X is for the eyes. And then you're like, oh shit, they didn't actually get the ball, so they failed their mission. Anywho, now that I've talked about that for like 7-8 minutes, where danger lurks.